Hi guys, welcome to another video. I played a number of games yesterday and some were quite horrendously bad and some were pretty good. So at the end of the day I was even with rating points. Um, but there's one game I didn't record them, but I wanted to show you one game which I think is quite nice and maybe instructive because it was a quite interesting. Well, maybe for someone who's advanced quite straightforward, but for me it was quite advanced endgame. So let's have a look. And the really nice thing I think is I played with 91.5% accuracy. My opponent with 87.7. And it is a game of about 92 moves, which is really, um, yeah, as far as I understand, it's quite easy to get like a high accuracy percentage when it's a short game. Say you play 10 moves and your opponent blunders and resigns. Yeah, 95% accuracy, no problem. But if you play a game like long into like an end game, um, like 90 moves, and then still both score really high, 91.5, 87.7, I think that's quite exceptional. Bet on the deck. No, just joking, obviously. But yeah, so let's have a look. What happened? I'm playing with black. Computer's still slow. I haven't solved it. First part is quite equal, so I'm not going to say too much about it. I didn't want to trade. This is the only thing I want to say. I didn't want to trade this bishop and him having a pawn. Him or her, I'll just call it him. It might be her, I don't know. But him having a pawn and opening up this file for his rook. So I don't mind doubling up my pawns to open this file for my rook. So he goes in, I chop it off, and then I defend my knight. He says I should have gone back, but that would have just lost me a pawn. So anyway, uh, yeah, nothing special going on. Just developing our pieces. He's bringing out his knight. And I thought like I don't want to lose my bishop for a knight, so I'll just chop it off. Which is obviously a bit dangerous because now he's got like a battery lined up on my king side. But at the moment it's defended with two pieces, and I can still also push. Well, if I move my king, say here, I can push this pawn for defense. But I wasn't too worried because I'm well defended at the moment. I did want to get rid of my, well, did want to move my knight and not lose this pawn. Actually, I could have moved it here and then maybe pushed the bishop away. That would have been even better because this is like a lost move. But it's not a bad move. This is a mistake, a blunder actually, and it is because yes. I did actually see already that the bishop was trapped. It was trapped here anyway, because now I can just push it and it's trapped. But he's just not dealing with. He should have just moved his knight, giving his bishop a place to go. That's why this pawn move is a blunder. So he sacrifices his knight. I take his bishop, and then I thought like the only place to go is here, and then I can down trade material. Down trade? Yeah, trading down material to go into a good end game because I'm up in material. So that's what I do. And then I take that pawn, he takes a pawn, I take a pawn, and we trade queens, which is obviously beneficial for me. And now I think a slight mistake of me is that I tried too hard to hang on to this pawn. Actually, what I should have done, realizing it now, because I'm trying to defend it, but I actually should have just pushed this pawn. I didn't actually look at the analysis, but I'm pretty sure. Yeah, there you have it. Whilst I'm looking at it now, I realized I could have just saved the pawn just by protecting it, giving it a brother to hang out with. And I still could have done it, but I'm now deciding to push it. And obviously now it's too far gone to save it. So I thought like maybe I can get this pawn. But then I thought like, okay, well, at least now we're forcing a rook trade, which obviously is beneficial for me. Now step up here with the king, so the rook cannot infiltrate on the second rank, seventh rank. And now I'm obviously having to think like, how can I bring my knight to the glory land to have it, yeah, to make it like my advantage, because obviously I'm up in material and I need to make use of it. So first things first, let's trade up the rooks, which he allowed me to, which I was quite surprised by. And now we're just getting in with the king. And yeah, so, and along the way, my opponent offered me a draw a couple of times. And obviously I thought like, hang on, I've got 5 pawns against 6 pawns, but I've got a knight. But I didn't quite see how I could get, how I could, how I could, how I could use the knight in my advantage. Because obviously he's got 4 pawns on this side, but he's also got pawns on this side. And I'm needing to protect both sides. He obviously needs to protect both sides also, but I mean, he's got like a major, this is a pass pawn. This could become a pass pawn quite soon. So in the moment, I didn't think about accepting his draw. Later on, I did consider it for a little while, but I thought like, well, no, 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 no. So he teases the knight away, and now I give a check, and I knew I could defend it. So I got a nice place for my knight, and now that nice place is gone. I'm way up in points, by the way, so the fact that he offered me a draw and I declined is good. It's 3.7 points up for me. So obviously I had to retreat. He said better to go there, but yeah, yeah, maybe a matter of preferences. I wanted to keep my knight here for defense also, for if any pawns would advance. I didn't want my knight to be here and that my king had to stop all these pawns together with his 4 pawns and his king. And obviously his king can also decide to go here at a certain point. Yeah, so it was a bit tricky because being up, still needing to figure out how to win this endgame. So then I thought like trade off some pawns, make it easier. So now it's only 1 pawn on this side to think about. And obviously I'm slowly but surely trying to get my opponent into a zugzwang kind of move. So I thought like, well, make another move. And he goes over. And the thing is, I really can't, well, I can't go here obviously now. But my king is still stuck defending this. And my knight also. So I wasn't completely sure how to convert this. Yeah. So I moved back my knight, defended by my king, but my knight is also now defending this pawn, and this pawn is defending that pawn. So all I was trying to do is keep this protected, and I didn't mind losing these pawns for that pawn, and even sacrificing my knight for it, if that would mean I could grab these pawns and promote these two, or at least one of them. So yeah, now it's easy for me to step here. My opponent can't go here, or here, or here. He could go here, but that'd be a bit stupid, I think, because then I can easily run over here, sacrifice my knight, and munch up all these pawns. But obviously I couldn't go too far away and have this one advance. That is the whole tricky, because this is push past pawn. So I was quite glad that he actually did this, because now obviously yeah, and one more pawn, one less pawn to worry about, and that was the pass pawn. Yeah, and obviously he's attacking my knight, so I need to defend it. and he's pushing, and he offered me a draw again, I think, at this point. So I was thinking like, well, if he pushes this pawn, I can push, but then this is a passed pawn also. If I go for it, I'm going to lose my knight and these two pawns, and maybe he can create a passed pawn on his own. So that was the tricky part. It's always tricky when you have pawns on both sides of the boards. But I thought, like, not in a hurry, let him make a move. And this I was actually quite happy about, because it's very willing to sacrifice these two pawns for this pawn. So this allowed me to get in here with my knight, and this can't move. And once again, even if I would lose my knight, it wouldn't be a problem. So, I actually didn't know why I did it then, but okay. So we exchange all pawns. I move out of the way, and now the good thing is my opponent is at the other side of the board. But, and then he sent me a message, it's a draw. And I was like, nope, it's not. Because obviously now I already could see I can move my king here and then move my knight here to defend this square. And then get both pawns. So that's what I did. And then, and this would have also been a bit tricky. If I would have moved here, I could have maybe captured my knight or something. But I could just take it here. But then, still, I mean, how do I get this pawn to promote? So it was a whole lot of shuffling around and trying to give my opponent not too many squares to move to. So we're just moving up the board, keeping my knight protected, keeping the pawn protected, and now I obviously needed to make space for my pawn to move. So I move up there, and then I move, and here I wasn't quite sure how to deal with it. I moved out of the way, and then I made a bit of a shuffling around, which wasn't too clever because now we're back at the same position as a little while ago, and you never know when the computer thinks it's a repetition of moves. I should have just stepped out of the way, as I'm going to do now with my king. And yes, he can move here, but he can never move here because of my king. So that's what he does. I give it a check. He can't go here, can't go there because of my knight, has to go to either of these two squares. And then I can promote. So yeah, finally, and now trying to not stalemate. So trying to make every move with a check if possible, which is not possible here now anymore. But I thought, like, let's move my king over. He needs to move. Always checking for stalemates. I thought, like, I don't need a knight. I can just checkmate with the queen and the king. So let's step out of the way. Check, check. Make a move down the board. And now what you do, apparently one of the things you can do is to move a knight's jump away from the king with your queen. That means you don't stalemate, but he needs to move. Until a certain point, because if I move here now, hang on, yeah, I think it's still possible. Yeah, but if I move here now, it's a stalemate. So you have to be careful of that, because if I move here, then he can't move, but he's not in check, so it's a stalemate. So now it's just a matter of bringing in your king to get into some kind of opposition. Checkmate. So I thought it was a really nice game. Hopefully it was instructive for you too. And yeah, give this video a thumbs up if you like it. Leave a comment if you wish. And I'll see you in the next video. Bye.